Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a river in Africa. The water is calm. The surface looks empty. A few birds drift past. The mud at the waterline is undisturbed. There is no movement, no sound, nothing to suggest danger of any kind. You take one step closer. What you do not know, what you cannot know, is that 2.5 feet below the surface, perfectly motionless, with only its nostrils breaking the water in a way you would never detect, there is a creature that has been there for the last 2 hours, watching you. Its eyes are wide open. Its breathing has dropped to almost nothing. Its body is positioned at exactly the right angle for a single explosive lunge. And inside its skull, behind that ancient reptilian face, something is calculating, measuring, waiting. This is the moment most people get completely wrong. They think the crocodile is just sitting there, running on instinct, waiting blindly. They picture it as a kind of swimming machine, old, primitive, dumb, a dinosaur. That picture is wrong in every single way that matters. Because the crocodile in that water has been doing one of the most cognitively sophisticated things in the natural world. It has been hunting you, studying you, planning the strike, and it has been doing this with a mind that has been on this planet for over 200 million years, long before any mammal walked the earth, long before flowers existed, long before the dinosaurs themselves had finished evolving. Today, we are going inside it. In this video, you are going to discover things about the crocodile that almost nobody knows, how it uses tools, a behavior previously thought to be exclusive to primates and a handful of birds, how it hunts cooperatively in groups with assigned roles and apparent communication, how it protects its young with a level of devoted parental care that puts most mammals to shame, how its bite force is the strongest of any animal alive by a margin that is genuinely difficult to believe, and how in the moment a crocodile decides you are within its strike zone, something happens that almost no other predator on Earth can replicate. This is not the lazy reptile from nature documentaries. This is one of the oldest, most successful, most intelligent ambush minds ever evolved on this planet. If this is the kind of content that pulls you in, the real psychology behind the world's most powerful predators, make sure you subscribe to The Predator Mind. We go deep into the hidden intelligence of wild animals, and there is much more coming. Now, let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand about the crocodile is what it is. When you look at a crocodile, you are looking at a survivor, a creature whose body plan has remained almost unchanged for over 200 million years. Crocodiles watched the rise of dinosaurs. They watched the rise of mammals. They watched the asteroid that ended the Cretaceous. They are still here. That kind of evolutionary success does not happen by accident. It happens because the design works. And the crocodile's design, the body, the senses, the brain, has been refined into one of the most efficient predatory packages in the history of life on Earth. Start with the bite. The Nile crocodile has the strongest bite force ever measured in any living animal, roughly 5,000 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, a lion's bite is around 650 pounds per square inch, a great white shark around 4,000. The Nile crocodile bites with more force than any other animal alive today. But the way they use that bite is what reveals the mind behind it. Crocodiles do not just bite, they calculate. When a crocodile launches its strike of a wildebeest at the water's edge, it does not waste energy on the kind of struggle that other predators engage in. The crocodile clamps its jaws onto the prey, then immediately begins to spin its entire body underwater at extraordinary speed. This rotational force, multiplied by the strength of those jaws, tears the prey apart with a precision that other predators simply cannot match. It is the most efficient killing mechanism ever evolved in the animal kingdom, and it is not random. It is calculated. The crocodile selects when to attack, which animal to attack, and from what angle, all based on real-time assessment of the situation around it. This is the engineering, but the engineering is only part of the story. Because for a long time, scientists assumed that this kind of predatory efficiency was all that crocodiles had to offer,
that behind those reptilian eyes there was nothing more than a kind of automatic killing machine. What recent research has revealed is something far more disturbing. In 2013, researcher Vladimir Dinets published a study that fundamentally changed how scientists understand the crocodile's mind. The study reported that crocodiles use tools to hunt, not metaphorically, actually. During the breeding season, when birds are desperately searching for sticks and twigs to build their nests, Dinets and his collaborators observed something remarkable. Nile crocodiles in Africa and their close relatives in India and elsewhere were placing small sticks and twigs balanced on the top of their snouts.
They would then float motionlessly near a nesting bird colony, exposing only the eyes, nostrils, and the sticks above the water. The birds would come. A bird searching for nesting material would spot the sticks, fly down, and reach to take one. In that exact moment, that precise window of vulnerability, the crocodile would explode upward and snap its jaws closed. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. Researchers documented this behavior occurring more frequently during the bird nesting season, when sticks were most valuable to birds, and less frequently outside that season. The crocodiles were not just using tools, they were timing their tool use to match the behavioral cycles of their prey. This is, by any honest scientific definition, planning. It is forethought. It is the mental capacity to imagine a future event, the bird approaching, the bird reaching for the stick, and to set up the present situation to make that future event more likely. For most of the 20th century, this kind of cognitive behavior was thought to be unique to primates, certain birds like crows and ravens, and possibly some mammals like elephants. Reptiles were not on the list. They were not even close to being on the list. That list has now changed. Behind those ancient eyes, there is a mind capable of doing something that scientists just a few decades ago would have flatly declared impossible for a reptile. But the tool use is not even the most extraordinary thing about crocodile cognition. The most extraordinary thing is what they do when they hunt together. For decades, crocodiles were classified as solitary, opportunistic predators. The picture in every textbook was the same: a lone crocodile lying in wait, striking when something came close, swimming off alone. Cooperation? Coordination? These were behaviors reserved for the great social predators: wolves, lions, killer whales. That picture is also wrong. When Vladimir Dinets compiled over 3,000 hours of field observations of crocodilian behavior, he documented something the scientific community was not prepared for. Crocodiles, across multiple species and multiple locations, were engaging in coordinated cooperative hunting. In one example, a group of mugger crocodiles in Sri Lanka was observed swimming in a circular pattern around a school of fish, holding the formation steady to keep the fish trapped. Individual crocodiles would take turns breaking from the formation to cut through the fish and eat, while the others maintained the circle so the trapped fish could not escape. That is not chance. That is collaboration. That is teamwork. In another observation, larger crocodiles drove prey towards smaller members of the group, positioned strategically at the water's edge, where the fish would have nowhere to run. The crocodiles in this hunt had assigned positions, different roles. The larger animals acted as drivers, the smaller animals acted as ambushers, and the hunt succeeded because every individual played their part. This is not just social behavior. This is the kind of role-based cooperation that has only been documented in a handful of species on the planet. Wolves do it, killer whales do it, some species of dolphins do it, and now, we know, crocodiles do it. Researchers studying this behavior have noted something even more striking. The crocodiles appear to communicate during these hunts, not with words, obviously, but through the complex repertoire of vibrations, body movements, sub-audible booming sounds, and slap signals on the water surface. The communication is subtle. It is not loud, but it is there, and it allows the group to coordinate without alerting the prey. 200 million years of evolution have produced a predator that can plan, communicate, coordinate, and cooperate. The lazy reptile in the muddy bank has been quietly running one of the most sophisticated hunting operations on Earth. Now, I want to tell you something that almost nobody who isn't a herpetologist knows. The crocodile is one of the most devoted parents in the entire animal kingdom. Stop and read that again, because most people refuse to believe it the first time. When a female Nile crocodile lays her eggs, She digs a nest in the sand or mud, deposits the clutch, and then she does something extraordinary. She does not leave. For approximately 3 months, the female crocodile guards that nest. She does not eat for most of that time. She does not move from her post for long periods. She defends it from intruders, including monitor lizards, mongooses, hyenas, and any other predator that might try to dig up the eggs. She regulates the temperature of the nest by adjusting how much vegetation covers it. And then comes the moment. When the eggs are ready to hatch, the babies inside begin to call out, high-pitched chirping sounds that travel through the eggshell, through the dirt, and reach the mother's ears. The mother responds. She digs open the nest. She picks up each individual hatchling in her enormous jaws, the same jaws capable of crushing a wildebeest, and carries them with extraordinary delicacy to the water. She does not crush them. She does not bite down. She holds them, sometimes 7 or 8 at a time, inside the most powerful mouth in the natural world, and she carries them gently to safety. She continues to protect them for weeks, sometimes months. She watches over them while they hunt small prey in the shallows. She responds to their distress calls. She allows them to ride on her back and on her head while she swims. This is not a reptile running on instinct. This is parental investment that rivals and in many ways exceeds what many bird and mammal species provide. The mind behind those eyes is capable of recognizing her own offspring among hundreds. It is capable of responding to specific vocalizations. It is capable of restraint, of patience, of devotion that lasts months in an animal that lives in one of the harshest environments on Earth. For an animal that has been around for 200 million years, the crocodile has had a long time to perfect not just how to kill, but how to nurture. Now let's talk about how a crocodile actually hunts, because once you understand the technique, the chilling reality of why you do not see it coming becomes clear. A crocodile does not chase. That is not its game. The crocodile is the ultimate ambush predator. Its entire body is engineered for one thing: to disappear into the water and the mud and to remain there perfectly still for as long as it takes. A Nile crocodile can hold its breath underwater for over an hour. Some accounts suggest up to 2 hours in cold conditions when its metabolism slows down. During this time, only the eyes and nostrils break the surface, and those are positioned on the very top of the skull, designed to be virtually invisible from a normal viewing angle. From the perspective of an animal coming down to drink, the crocodile is simply not there. And when it does strike, the moment that defines the entire hunt, the speed is almost beyond comprehension.
A crocodile's lunge from the water is one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom relative to its body size. The animal can travel 10 feet in less than a second, exploding from total stillness to peak velocity in the time it takes you to register that something is wrong. By the time the prey reacts, it is already in the crocodile's jaws. And here is the part that genuinely terrifies herpetologists. The crocodile is learning. Researchers tracking individual crocodiles over years have documented that older animals develop predictable patterns of behavior at specific locations. They learn where animals come to drink. They learn what times of day prey is most concentrated. They learn the routes that migrating animals take across rivers. They learn the seasons in which certain prey species are most vulnerable. There are documented cases of crocodiles at famous African river crossings, the Mara River, the Grumeti, that have been seen returning to the exact same ambush spots year after year, perfectly timed to the wildebeest migration. The crocodiles know when the wildebeest are coming. They are not just waiting, they are scheduled. These animals are not running on automatic response. They are using accumulated experience, memory of past hunts, past successes, past failures, to optimize their strategies over decades of life. When you see a crocodile lying motionless in the sun, doing nothing, you are looking at something far stranger than rest. You are looking at the visible surface of an enormous internal database, an ambush predator at the end of 200 million years of refinement, processing the world around it with a patience and precision that almost no other species can match.
Here is something that will change how you think about water for the rest of your life. A crocodile's senses are tuned to a level that most mammals cannot match. Its eyes are equipped with a reflective layer behind the retina, called the tapetum lucidum, that gives it exceptional night vision, far better than yours. At night, when you cannot see your own hand in front of your face, the crocodile can see the silhouette of a deer at the water's edge from 50 feet away. Its hearing is acute, especially for low-frequency sounds, the thump of a hoof on the riverbank, the breath of an animal preparing to drink, the vibrations through soil and water from movement hundreds of feet away. But the most extraordinary sense, and the one almost no one knows about, is its skin. A crocodile's face and body are covered in thousands of small dome-shaped sensory organs called integumentary sensory organs, or ISOs. These tiny receptors can detect the slightest pressure changes in water, the equivalent of a single drop hitting the surface from a great distance. The crocodile feels vibrations through the water with the same kind of precision a great white shark uses with its lateral line. When something enters the water near a crocodile, even a fish moving in the dark, the crocodile feels it through its face, through its skin, through receptors so sensitive that researchers have struggled to find anything comparable in the animal kingdom. This is why crocodiles can hunt in completely opaque, muddy water with no visibility. This is why they can strike with terrifying accuracy in the dark. The crocodile does not need to see you to know exactly where you are. It feels you. Now, I want to tell you something that most people are completely unprepared to consider.
The crocodile is in trouble. For an animal that has survived 2 mass extinctions, the irony is bitter. The crocodile that watched the dinosaurs die out is now itself under serious pressure from human activity. Habitat destruction, water diversion, agricultural runoff, poaching for skins, conflict killings near human settlements. Across most of its range, crocodile populations are stressed or declining. In some species, the situation is catastrophic. The Philippine crocodile is critically endangered. The Cuban crocodile is on the brink. The gharial, one of the most distinctive crocodilians on Earth with its long, thin snout, has been reduced to a handful of fragmented populations in India and Nepal. Even the Nile crocodile, the most iconic and widely distributed species, is facing significant declines in many parts of its historical range. And here is what strikes me most about this. The crocodile is one of the oldest living predator lineages on Earth. It has watched continents drift. It has watched the rise of every group of mammals that exist today, including ours. Its design has worked for so long that it has barely needed to change. And yet, in a window of just a few centuries, the human reshaping of rivers, wetlands, and coastlines is doing what asteroids and ice ages could not. A crocodile does not understand a dam. It does not understand chemical pollution. It does not understand the global trade in exotic skins or the conversion of wetlands into rice farms. But it feels the consequences. In its empty nests, in its depleted prey, in the shrinking corridors of habitat where its species can still survive. This ancient mind, patient, devoted, intelligent, terrifying, is being squeezed out of a planet it owned for 200 million years before we arrived.
It is still hunting, still raising young, still doing what its species has always done. But the rivers in which it does these things are not the rivers it was built for. The crocodile is not what you've been told. It is not a swimming dinosaur, not a primitive killing machine, not a creature without a mind. Behind those reptilian eyes is one of the most sophisticated predator minds that has ever existed, one capable of using tools, cooperating with others, raising its young with extraordinary devotion, and waiting with infinite patience for the moment that justifies 200 million years of refinement. The next time you stand near a river in crocodile country and the water looks empty, ask yourself what is actually beneath that surface, what is calculating, what is waiting. Because almost certainly, something is. Leave a comment below. What surprised you most? The tool use? The cooperative hunting? The parental devotion? Or the idea that when a crocodile lies motionless in the water, doing nothing, it is actually doing far more than you ever imagined? I read every single one. And if you want to keep going deeper into the hidden intelligence of the wild, subscribe to the Predator Mind, because we are just getting started.